Spider-Man 4 a multiverse film? Let's talk about it. I want to make this very clear that this is just a big rumor. This is not confirmed by any studio or the actors or the director. We don't even know who the director is for the film. But this is coming from Daniel RBK, a very reliable source that has been very consistent in recent years about when it comes to Marvel rumors and reports and all sorts. But still, take this with a grain of salt, so let's get into it. So the rumor is that Spider-Man 4 will now begin filming next year and is slated to release in 2026. And they're saying it's more than likely that the story for Spider-Man 4 will be a multiverse type story. Like your Spider-Man No Way Home, Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, Deadpool and Wolverine type of multiverse story film. And here's the thing, me personally, I want a more of a grounded Spider-Man story. Even though I don't mind a multiverse story for Spider-Man, but I think it's time for Tom Holland to have a really great grounded Spider-Man film, like Spider-Man 2 or The Amazing Spider-Man, or really the whole past Spider-Man iteration films before Tom Holland. And yes, I know Homecoming is also a grounded story, but if you really look at it, when it comes to grounded stories, I mean something more of like on the lines of Spider-Man kind of dealing with his own personal issues on his own, not having outside help, maybe help from maybe Black Cat or Miles Morales, but nothing to the aspect of like the Avengers or outside sources and whatnot. Maybe Daredevil, but I just wanted something more of a grounded Spider-Man story. And I'm not the only one that shares the same sentiment. A lot of fans out there from Twitter, TikTok, the whole fandom, YouTube are trying to share the same sentiment that they want more of a Spider-Man grounded story, for Spider-Man 4, Tom Holland. Makes sense, right? And when I first heard the news, I was like, well, damn, I really wanted a grounded Spider-Man film for Spider-Man 4, for really Tom Holland. I really think he could shine in his own grounded Spider-Man film. But then my comic book brain started to run its gears a little bit, and then I realized, oh, wait a minute, there's a lot of potential for the story. Kind of like how the whole Doctor Doom, RDJ coming back to play Doctor Doom. I started thinking of ways maybe in the comic book world that they could possibly make this a more interesting story narrative that maybe I'm not seeing, that maybe this would be actually a great thing and a great opportunity for our character, Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, to actually evolve and grow and make a very interesting and compelling story for Spider-Man. If you really think about it, Spider-Man 4 and a lot of other MCU films will take place in Battleworld. And as I was trying to put it together how they could make this work for Spider-Man 4 in Battleworld, but then I thought back to the tie-ins to Secret Wars, preferably the 2015 Secret Wars, which is obviously where they're going with Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And when I thought about the tie-ins to Secret Wars, then I thought about War Zones. And there was a run for Spider-Verse, a Spider-Verse tie-in. Essentially, in the story, you had a bunch of spider people gathered together going up against Norman Osborn. Well, aka Mayor Norman Osborn. You had Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham. And I encourage people to go check this out, go read it. It's a really great read. One of the great tie-ins to Secret Wars. And honestly, I think what they could do with this is basically bring in like Toby and Andrew, or even possibly, I know this is a stretch, but this is how they could possibly tie in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Hello? I know that's a little ambitious, but if you really think about it, they could possibly play in that world because, again, this is Battle World. This is pieces of different universes of Earth or whatever worlds they're in pieced together to one Battle World. And this is how you can bring in so many other characters that we haven't even seen yet, from spider people to spider villains for live action. You can do this in the story. This is a great opportunity to do things with Spider-Man and spider stories and spider villains that you haven't been able to do in the past with other live action Spider-Man films. But then I thought about another tie-in, and that tie-in was War Zones, The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. Talking about grounded Spider-Man stories, this was a grounded Spider-Man story that took place during Battleworld. That's what they're essentially doing now with the new Ultimate Spider-Man run, with MJ and Peter being married and having kids, but also being its own thing. But with this story, but also with the Warzone Spider-Verse story tie-in, I was like, maybe they can find a way to make a perfect balance between it being a grounded Spider-Man story, but also dealing with multiverse implications for the MCU or for the battle world of it. But after the tie-ins and thinking about what they could do for Spider-Man 4 on Battle World, it led me to something else. Does anybody remember the Morbius post-credit scene? Essentially them teasing Sinister Six, a multiversal Sinister Six. Now, we don't know what they're doing with Venom: The Last Dance or the Craven movie, but if I'm a betting man, if Sony played their cards right, they could also be included into the Sinister Six. But bear with me here. Let's think back to the post-credit scene for Venom: Let There Be Carnage, where essentially Venom crossed over into the MCU and he sees a news coverage of basically Peter's identity being revealed at the end of Far From Home, setting up No Way Home and his little cameo in there, even though it was really a post-credit scene cameo, which we'll get to in a second. But notice how Venom says, "I remember that guy," or "we know this guy," essentially alluding to that there is a Venom hive mind, basically. Now, some of you Marvel comic book fans know where I'm going with this. Now, this is just my personal theory. I don't know anything, but this is just pure speculation. But I think this would be a perfect way to tie everything up together. Because in this post-credit scene, when he says, "I know this guy," but in this post-credit scene where he says that "I know this guy," alluding to the hive mind, this could be alluding to that this hive mind is on a multiversal scale and that possibly another Venom has come across another Spider-Man. When did that happen before? Now, bear with me for a second. So with the No Way Home post-credit scene, you had Venom at the bar, then he gets brought back to his universe with him leaving a piece of Venom behind in the MCU. Alluding to that, at some point that Peter's going to come into contact with that symbiote and essentially getting the black suit Spider-Man or the alien costume saga for Spider-Man or Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And we could see that in Spider-Man 4. And with Battle World, we could have Tobey and Andrew in Spider-Man 4. And who was the one that had the black suit before? So with the post-credit scene from Morbius and the post-credit scene for No Way Home and then Venom: Let There Be Carnage, hear me out. And with Spider-Man 4 taking place on Battle World, which meaning possibly we could see Tom, Tobey, and Andrew working together again. And possibly more spider people, but that's for another video. And we know every story when it comes to Peter getting the black suit that the symbiote plays into the bad side or the dark side of Spider-Man. What if this is how you tie into MJ and Ned, him maybe wanting to reconnect with maybe Ned and MJ because the black suit that he's wearing is basically playing into his darker side, more of his indulgence, if you will. Basically abandoning the great power with great responsibility. And like Spider-Man No Way Home, Tobey trying to prevent or teach Tom to not to give in to his darker side. Because Tobey knows about having the black suit and giving in to his darker side. And with this movie, you could have the Spider-Verse going up against the multiversal Sinister Six. But do y'all remember when I brought up the hive mind? So before I say what I'm going to say, I think Spider-Man 4 has the potential to be not just a great epic Spider-Man story, not just a great Spider-Verse story, not a great epic multiverse story, but a great symbiotic epic story. And based off the trailers for Venom: Last Dance, we see a bunch of symbiotes basically evading Earth, trying to hunt down Venom. So let's jump back to Battle World. What if we get the scenario? In the scenario, you have Tobey, Andrew, and Tom, and the rest of the Spider-Verse people working together to fight off the Sinister Six, the multiversal Sinister Six. And remember, this is Battle World, so anyone or anything is on Battle World, from Doctor Doom to Thor to, the Thor Corps. There could be so many other potential people on Battle World. It's going to be nuts and bananas. So you have Spider-Verse people, Tobey, Tom, and Andrew, and whoever else, versus the multiversal Sinister Six. Basically Secret Wars, but Spider-Man verse spin to it. But remember the hive mind? King in Black. And all my beloved Marvel comic book fans, you know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm about to say. Our great old pal, Noel. Now, I know that's a lot for a 2.5-hour movie, and it seems so ambitious that possibly the storytelling element and maybe even the grounded Spider-Man story side might be sacrificed. But if they do this could be epic. This could tie in everything from Sony's side to Tom Holland's Spider-Man MCU side. This could wrap all that up. So basically, after Secret Wars, then Spider-Man 5 and 6 can be more of a grounded Spider-Man story, because we're already past all this other stuff. That we have already tied up everything when it comes to the Spider-Verse, the Multiverse, all that great stuff, Null, the Venom stuff, and all that great stuff. Remember when I said that Tobey's trying to prevent Tom from basically giving into his darker side while wearing the black suit? Nah, no Spider-Man fans are about to tear me apart. Remember also what I said, that there could be anyone or anything on Battleworld? What if at the end, oh, I'm going to say it,
Mephisto.
One more day. Granted, they already did this in Spider-Man No Way Home, but this can be more comic book accurate, but reverse. Instead of everyone forgetting who Peter is, they forget who Spider-Man is. Okay, cinema fans, that's enough of me trying to, speculate and theorize what could happen in Spider-Man 4. But the idea is that there is so much potential story-wise, narrative-wise, that they could do with Spider-Man 4. So, especially him being on Battleworld. The idea is that you have Tom Holland's Spider-Man on Battleworld with anyone or anything from the Spider-Verse world showing up on Battleworld. You have that opportunity. You have an opportunity to really cook a great epic Spider-Man story, a great epic Spider-Verse story, a great epic symbiotic Spider-Man story. I mean, there's so much potential. I mean, personally, me talking about all this is making me more excited for Spider-Man 4 and the great potential that it has. But hey, that's just my personal speculation. Tell me what you think in the comments. Like this video. Subscribe to more. The home for fans of cinema. Thank you for watching. And yeah, peace.